Hello. The Bicoastal Medical Team is currently implementing initiatives to help with the aging process for our companions. In other words, planning for this phase of life. I'm pleased to welcome Nathan Pastor, who is going to give us an excellent talk on this subject matter, including advanced directives and creating durable powers of attorney for healthcare and finance. Nathan.
All right, so we're welcoming everyone to introduction to advanced healthcare directives and powers of attorney for finance. I'm going to switch to screen sharing. All right, so introduction to powers of attorney for healthcare and finance by me and Taigh. A little bit about me. I'm certified by the California State Board of Legal Specialization in Estate Planning, Trust, and Probate Law. And I also have a master's degree after law school in Estate Planning, Trust, and Probate Law. I practice exclusively in trusts and estates. I'm also a contributing editor to the California Continuing Education of the Bar in estate planning and specifically healthcare directives. I also do conservatorships, which is if someone lacks capacity and you need court intervention. And this talk is designed to help people avoid ever needing court intervention by having the proper documents in place. So this topic kind of came about in the community because we realized that not every issue has to be an emergency if you have the proper documents in place. And our general motto on the team that has been taking a look at the bicoastal team that's been taking a look at aging and how to be most helpful to people in our community is don't save for later what you can do now, especially with your healthcare and finances. Things run a lot more smoothly if everyone has a plan in place and the people who are supposed to step in to assist with those decisions know what the plan is. And so, like I said earlier, this presentation is designed to give an overview on filling out powers of attorney for healthcare and finance. We don't want to overwhelm people with the minutia of the documents. It's designed to be a broad overview to start the conversation. So let's just dive into the specifics. Why choose a medical decision maker? And there's a lot of different words for medical decision maker, but the most common is agent for healthcare. So this would be your agent for healthcare that's named in your healthcare directive. Well, about 3 out of 4 people will not be able to make some of their own medical decisions at some point in their life. And the doctors need to know who can make decisions for you. The helper, the designated decision maker, would only make decisions for you if you were too sick to make your own decisions. And so that's something that people wonder about is, well, does my medical decision maker step in immediately? No, not necessarily. If you can make your own decisions, then those decisions take precedent over everyone else. And no one can make decisions for you if you have capacity. So what does a medical decision maker do? They are a person who can make healthcare decisions for you if you're not able to make them for yourself. And if you lack capacity, they'll be your advocate. They'll advocate to the healthcare institutions and all your healthcare providers. And they're also called a healthcare agent, proxy, or surrogate. Here in California, it's often agent for healthcare. Now, if you are not able, your decision maker can choose these things for you. And so that would be doctors, nurses, social workers, and caregivers, the people who are going to help you as you age. They can decide, which hospital you go to, which clinics to get you care at, and what nursing home you'll be placed at if that's the least restrictive way to get you the care that you need. They will be able to help you with decisions on what medications you're going to get, what tests to get, and what treatments. They're going to be able to have, one of the main things that they can do is get access to your healthcare information. If you are unable to read it and understand it yourself, they can get access to that, and as well as your have conversations with your doctor. And also they're going to have the ability to decide what happens to your organs after you die. And so this is a bit of a morbid subject area, and so I deal with it all the time, and it kind of rolls off my tongue. So when you say what happens to your body after you die, we'll have a more overview of that later in the presentation, and how this document affects during life and after you pass. So what makes a good medical decision maker? It's basically not that complicated. It's a family or friend who is 18 years of age or older, understands your wishes such that they can talk about your wishes. They can be there for you when you need them. So they need to be dependable, someone that you have a trusting relationship with, and someone that you trust to follow your wishes and do what's best for you. So as you age, sometimes complicated decisions can come up, and so you want to be able to have someone that you trust and understands what your wishes would be in maybe a different situations as they come up. Now, it has to be someone that you trust to know your medical information. So, oftentimes a close family member or friend is someone that you might rely on. And another important aspect of a healthcare agent is going to be someone who's not afraid to ask doctors questions and speak up about your wishes. Is someone who is an advocate, maybe understands the ins and out of the medical field or not, but at least they'll be able to speak up for you if you're in a complicated situation. Now, legally, your decision maker cannot be your doctor or someone who works at your hospital or a clinic unless they're a family member. Now, what will happen if I do not choose a medical decision maker? I wanted to bring this to the group's attention that recently there was legislation that says that if you, as of January 1st, 2023 in California, if you do not choose a designated decision maker, the hospital has the authority to choose that person for you. And I have the bill number here, but basically the patient's surrogate shall be an adult who has demonstrated special care and concern for the patient, is familiar with the patient's personal values and beliefs to the extent known, and is reasonably available and willing to serve. So the order of priority goes spouse, adult child, parent, adult sibling, adult grandchild, adult relative, or close friend. So the reason this is important is because if you don't pick your medical decision maker, then this person will be picked by the hospital and it'll go in this order of priority. And so if that's not someone that you want to be in charge of your medical decisions as you age, or if you lack capacity, then you need to pick one yourself, because your decision, if you pick one, would take precedent over that. Now, something that always comes up is what happens, how do you pick someone? You've gone through all these qualities that would make the best decision maker. And if you're having difficulty, sometimes I tell clients, start with who you do not want to be your medical decision maker. That kind of ties into the last slide, because you see who would be the decision maker if the hospital decided it for you. So maybe you do not want some of those people to be your medical decision maker. And so you therefore want to decide who you do not want to. And then that sometimes leads into who you would actually want to be the medical decision maker. Now, it's important to discuss this with your medical decision maker, or who you plan to choose to be your medical decision maker. Don't assume someone will know that you want them to be your medical decision maker. You have to ask them. So here's some tips to start that conversation with who you'll want to be your medical decision maker. Choose a quiet place and time to bring it up. Make sure the person understands what you're asking them to do. And if the person feels uneasy, you may want to give them time to think about it. Then you can ask them again later. But don't wait too long. You know, some people in my practice do wait many years to get this in place, and then it becomes too late. So, you know, you want to stay on top of this once you start the task, and then make sure that you complete the task of actually getting the document signed and getting someone who will agree to do this for you if you ever need it. And some people may say no, so you need to know that and move on to someone who will actually be able to fulfill this role for you. Of course, they have to agree, but if you do name backups in the document, then those backups can step in if any of your designated agents decline to act. Now, something that the document discusses is what you want to happen towards the end of your life if you're getting very ill, such as a terminal illness. Now, at the end of life, some people are willing to live through a lot if there's a chance of living longer, and other people know that certain things would be very hard on their quality of life, and those things may make them want to focus on comfort rather than trying to live as long as possible. For some people, the main goal is to be kept alive as long as possible, even if they have to be kept on machines or are suffering or life support. Or you know, they may decide to not continue life supporting treatments if they're too sick to talk to their family or friends. For other people, the main goal is to focus on the quality of life and being comfortable. And these people would prefer a natural death and not to be kept on machines. And then a lot of people are somewhere in between. So these are important decisions that you want to think about and document. And you also want to discuss them with your designated decision maker so that they understand your wishes and what you'd want to happen if you were in this type of situation. Now, I have some slides on how do you balance quality of life with medical care. And this is something that people typically will discuss with their healthcare agent, their doctors, social workers, therapists. But I'll just hit some of the main things that people like to consider. So at the end of life, sometimes illness and treatments used to try to help people live longer can cause pain, side effects, and inability to care for yourself. And there's a wide range of situations where this can happen. And life support can be CPR, a breathing machine, feeding tubes, dialysis, or transfusions. And some people are willing to live through a lot for a chance of living longer. And other people know that certain things would be very hard on their quality of life. And so they wouldn't want to undergo those things if they had a terminal illness. And so here are some other things that people tend to write into their healthcare directive if they want to be specific about what they don't want to receive or what they are comfortable receiving in these situations, such as being in a coma and not being able to wake up or talk to family and friends, not being able to live without being hooked up to machines, not being able to think for themselves, such as severe dementia, not being able to feed, bathe, or take care of themselves, not being able to live on their own, and such as they'd be living in a nursing home, having constant or severe pain or discomfort, or deciding that they're willing to live through all of these things for the chance of living longer, depending on the quality of life. And again, another slide on if you were so sick that you may die soon, what would you prefer? And some people say, try all life support treatments that my doctor thinks may help. And some people want to do a trial run of life support treatments that their doctor thinks may help. And some people don't want life supporting treatments. An important aspect here is that the healthcare agent is tasked with discussing this with the doctors and coming to a decision. The healthcare directive and the documented wishes really just help to explain to the healthcare agent what the person would want in this type of situation if they lack capacity and can't state their wishes on their own and get into a tricky situation. Now in California, it's pretty easy. The form just needs to be signed by 2 qualified witnesses or acknowledged before a notary public. They do have notary services in California at Kaiser that will help do this for you at certain locations. And then another important step of completing the healthcare directive is giving a copy of a signed and completed form to your physician and to any other healthcare providers that you may have, to healthcare institutions and to any healthcare agents you name, so that they'll know what to do when the time comes, if it comes. And then this talk is designed to cover many different states, basically wherever Sufis are located. And so I have a special out-of-state signing issues slide, and it's the last slide. So we can go over the different signing requirements. Now, this is kind of what a statutory advanced healthcare directive form looks like. And this is just a statutory California probate code form. You can get it online. And that is why I have some websites. So we can look through the 5 wishes. I have the website here, and we can send out these materials. And the 5 wishes is a form that people use to document what they would want for their healthcare decisions and who they want as their agent. And we're not going to scroll through all the forms. I just wanted to show people how easy it is and how accessible these forms are. They have very, good instructions, and you just write in what you want. The forms are very good at walking you through things. I'm going through quite quickly because there's a lot of them, and you can choose which ones right for you. I'm going to scroll all the way to the end of the 5 wishes sample form where they have the signing, and so it walks you straight through the signing requirements. Here's the witness statements. The next form I'm going to show you is just the statutory healthcare form in healthcare directive form in California. Here it is, and it's pretty easy. It tells you exactly where to put your agent and your backup agents, what authority your agent has, when it becomes effective, if it's effective immediately or if you lack capacity, and post-death authority with regards to organ donation. If you're very enthusiastic about organ donation, you can always put it on your driver's license as well. They have a quick place for end-of-life decisions and what you would want with regards to those. Typically a healthy person that does not have a incurable end-of-life disease would choose 2.1A. That's just basically stating that you would only terminate life support if you had if you were in an irreversible persistent vegetative state. And then they make it easy for signing. I'm just going to scroll to the end for the statement of the witnesses. Now, the next form I want to show you is the Kaiser California form. They have their own form. It's kind of like 5 wishes, and it's a very good form as well. I'm not going to scroll through that whole form. Another one that Kaiser has on their website, if you come down here on the website that we can give to everyone, is if you click, you can see for Maryland, Virginia, and Washington, D.C. You can just click here and it'll give you the forms. And so you can do it in those states very easily as well. It just says complete the advanced healthcare directive form. And here it is for Maryland, Virginia, and DC. You just click on it, it comes right up. Very, very accessible, very easy to use. You just fill it out either online or in handwriting, and then you get 2 witnesses and it's done. All right, so now on to financial powers of attorney. They're obviously different than powers of attorney for healthcare. It's a completely separate document, and it's a written instrument that designates who will manage your finances if you lack capacity. If it's a durable power of attorney, they can start helping you with finances immediately. It's actually a business form that companies use to designate agents for finances so that they can manage things, but it's adapted in the probate code for incapacity planning so that someone can name an agent to manage their finances if they lack capacity. A power of attorney for finances must be in writing, signed, and notarized to be valid. Now, when you create and sign a durable power of attorney, you give your agent or attorney legal authority to act on your behalf. Generally, people give their agent broad power to handle their finances. However, you can be a little fancier and just give some of the powers listed in the power of attorney form. An attorney, in fact, in California can make payments for your everyday expenses or family from the assets. They can buy, sell, pay taxes on your mortgage, real estate, or any other property. The agent can collect your Social Security, Medicare, or other governmental benefits. You can give them the power to invest in stocks, bonds, and mutual funds. They can communicate with banks and other financial institutions on your behalf, and they can have the right to buy, sell insurance policies and annuities for you, and just handle all other types of business dealings. And this becomes really handy if someone has to manage your long-term care, your long-term care benefits, pay caregivers, pay doctors, pay bills. This document is a robust document that if you grant sufficient power to the agent for finances, they can manage these things for you. I just wanted to mention briefly, it's a bit confusing, so I just wanted to touch on what's a durable versus a non-durable or a springing power of attorney. The main point here is just that a durable power of attorney takes effect immediately, and so it's a really robust document that takes effect immediately. Then when you lack capacity, the person has no issue stepping in and handling the finances immediately. And a springing power of attorney takes effect only at incapacity, and so a springing power of attorney can be a good option for someone that's completely capable, but they just want to plan ahead. I usually always have my clients do a durable power of attorney, since the person they're naming as agent is usually a very trusted person, and so there's no issue in designating someone immediately. With a spring power of attorney, typically you need 2 doctor's letters certifying incapacity before the power becomes effective. And I have put in here the statutory California form for finance to show you how easy it is to just click through. It's loading the PDF. So here's just the statutory California probate form. You just put in who you want as your agent, and then you can check which of these powers you want them to have. Typically, I'll just check all powers listed above so that it says diverse as possible, and the person can use it in many, many different circumstances. And then it's just signed, dated, and notarized, and it's legally valid. Now, as promised, I was going to cover the signing requirements for all the different states. So for the healthcare directive in California, Virginia, DC, and Maryland, it just needs to be witnessed by 2 qualified witnesses, which is anyone over 18 with capacity. In California, it may be notarized as opposed to having 2 witnesses. Sometimes that comes in handy. And in Maryland, it can be via electronic presence. so you don't actually have to be there in person with the witnesses to sign it. So those are some special requirements. For South Carolina, it's a little more special. It's the Advanced Healthcare Directive. You need 2 witnesses and a notary. One of the 2 witnesses must be the notary. Now, there are special circumstances if you're in a skilled nursing facility, and if you move out of state, you may need to sign a directive in the new state. That's advisable. For the power of attorney for finance, all of these states require notarization, as California, Virginia, and in DC all have to be signed and notarized. In Virginia, it's not technically required, but it is recommended to get the form notarized. And in Maryland, you must have 2 witnesses and a notary. And one of the witnesses can be a notary for signing the power of attorney for finance in for health for finance. So hopefully this gave a good overview of just filling out the forms. We've clicked through some of the forms. You can see where those are online, and you can see that they are self-explanatory. They are large forms. It can be overwhelming to fill them out, but hopefully watching this talk, you see that it is doable and that you can do it yourself, and they're all readily available online. And when they're done and signed and notarized, usually the number one thing people tell me is how relieved they are that they have it done and they have a plan in place if they lack capacity or run into an emergency. I think that concludes the presentation. So thank you for joining us.